my name's Thomas, and I make YouTube videos. And what I want to do before I get into this presentation is gauge the audience really quickly, because I purposely wanted to do a bit more of a technical talk today. So please tell me, who here makes videos, like not for a living, but a lot, at least? Cool, we have a decent amount of the audience. Does anybody just like make videos as a hobby, or every once in a while? Do we have any video beginners here? Okay, we have like half beginners. That's awesome. All right, so we're going to start out with some pretty beginnerish stuff, and then we're going to quickly ramp into the weeds territory. So let's use the Q&A section at the end of this presentation for you guys to ask me any questions, because there are certain things that have become like breathing to me, and I want to make sure you don't get lost. But what we're going to do today is talk about how to make videos faster, because I freaking love making videos. It is my career at this point, but it takes forever. So a little bit of backstory about me before we jump in. I run a site called collegeinfogeek.com, and about 2 years ago, I started making videos for that site because I found myself watching more videos on YouTube than spending time reading blogs or listening to podcasts. So I was like, what if I did that? And once I got over the intimidation of all the people on YouTube who make really, really good stuff, and once I got over the intimidation of how much the gear cost, which actually you can really, really lower that cost if you know what to buy, I started making stuff. And now this is the biggest part of my business. My channel has over 318,000 subscribers, I think, at this point, with 11 million views. It's probably the biggest source of study-related and productivity content on YouTube for students. Before I started, it was basically your choices were watch a professor with a camera in the back of the room with a horrible mic thrown on for an hour about how to study, or there'd be like beauty channels run by high school students, which are awesome, but their study videos were like, yeah, I'm going to do one video on how to use highlighters, and here's your stationery stuff that I think is really cool. So I was like, why isn't there a scientifically backed source of study information on YouTube that has the production values of the actual science channels, like Veritasium, Crash Course, and stuff like that? So that's what I wanted to make, and that's what I made now. The problem is, this stuff takes forever to do, and I wanted to show you, I put together a little editing reel of the kind of stuff I make. So we're going to zoom around a bunch in this video, or in this presentation here, and I'm just going to play this and hopefully not blast the audio too badly here. But, so this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This is what takes so long to do. I love doing whiteboard animations and really cool shots of buildings and stuff. And I like making lots of graphics and After Effects things. This takes so long, and you have the potential for carpal tunnel if you do it every single day. And when I started, I was spending hours and hours and hours on little tiny things. And now, I still spend hours and hours on little tiny things, but it's because they're new little tiny things. And all the old little tiny things I've been able to integrate into my process and make them way, way, way faster. So some of the things you'll see in this video are older and they look okay, and some of the things in this video are newer and they look awesome because the older things take like 5 seconds now. That's what I want to teach you guys how to do in this presentation. So quick overview of what we're going to do. We're going to talk about filming first, so I'm going to give you guys some hacks and tricks for filming faster. That'll be the more beginner part of this presentation. And then we're going to dive into the editing. So we'll talk about first what I like to call preliminary editing, which is just the editing of you as a talking head. And then we're going to get into the weeds with animations and B-roll. And finally wrap it up with a little dive into my default projects, which is something that's going to just change the game for you if you don't have one of these yet. So the first thing we're going to do is filming, and I'm just going to let this play here, but I've got 5 specific tips for you guys when it comes to filming. And the first one is to have your setup as static as possible. So what I mean is, like, when I started this, I'd have my camera put away in the closet, all my lights in the closet, everything is just put away. So every single week, I'd be like, time to make a video, and then I'd pull everything out, have to fiddle with all the light stands. At 20 minutes later, I'm dripping sweat, now I'm finally ready to film. And there's probably a bunch of mistakes that I'm making at this point. So my friend Antonio Santana, who runs a channel called Real Men, Real Style, I don't know if you guys watch that on YouTube, he makes pretty cool stuff. He told me about this. And this dude has an actual studio, so nothing ever changes for his film setup, and he's got this like a very plain, blank white background. He walks in, he goes boop, and then films. Easy. And I'm spending 20 minutes setting everything up. So Instead of doing that, I now have my own little setup here. And I've got to go back to the presentation, which is over here. I have many different moving parts, and I don't even know where it is anymore. Here we go. Yeah. So here we go. This is what my room looks like on a day-to-day basis now, much to the chagrin of my girlfriend, because she can never sit in this chair over here. But because I have soft boxes, ooh, I have a laser pointer. I have soft boxes just there all the time. I've got a mic on a boom pole. I've got a camera. Everything's ready to go. And this is what it looks like when I'm filming. All I have to do is close the camera out, turn it on, and I can film. My backdrop is my desk, so I can just raise that up, turn a couple of backlights on, it's ready to go. And a couple of other things I've learned to do. So I use external audio when I film. And I think every single one of you guys should use this because the built-in audio mics on your cameras are terrible. So if you've got a mic going into your camera like this one does, this is the Video Mic Pro from Rode, it works pretty well. But I found that even this thing, with the camera kind of far away from me, it doesn't sound as good as I'd like it to. So I've got that shotgun mic. And I've got it running into a mixer, which is totally set up in my desk, and then I did ridiculous cable management just a few weeks ago. So this is what my desk looks like underneath. This spent quite a while to build, but it's amazing, trust me. And the key aspect here is you can see over here we've got my audio gear, and there's this cable running all the way along. Very carefully not crossing any power cables because you get lots of audio interference if you do that. So now we've got an XLR thing right there. What I used to have to do is I used to have to drape an XLR cable all the way behind my desk, plug it in, and then plug it into the mic. And if I didn't want to go across the floor for the entire week after I film, I'd have to untake that and then do it again the next week. So now I can just plug that sucker in, it's ready to go. So the principle here is figure out what you can do to make a process out of everything and then make it more and more and more efficient as you go. Just tons of that all the time. And that's actually the second tip here. So if you can create processes and what I like to call pre-flight checklists, you're going to avoid mistakes. So I'll tell you a story. A while ago, I wanted to make a video on how to be more productive with your summer vacation. And me being me, I made this video at the end of summer, and I got a lot of flack for it. But I had this new camera. It's called the DJI Osmo, and it's basically a steady cam rig that you hook your phone into, and you get this ridiculously awesome, smooth footage. You might have seen a couple of clips in that little video I showed you where I was walking and it was like nice, smooth camera following me. There was a building and I was just panning around it. It's an awesome camera. So my friend Martin and I are like, let's go out and film on location somewhere. So we go through the whole checklist in my head, right? Okay, I've got the memory cards, I've got the camera, I've got the polar filters to help the sunlight not destroy my footage. I think we're good to go. We drive half an hour out to the city, we park, walk another 15 minutes to get to our shooting location, open my bag, no batteries. I mean no batteries. They're not even in the camera. So, and I thank my lucky stars that Martin is like a very rational person because instead of freaking out and punching me in the face, he just says, well, let's go get him. So we waste 2 hours, then go back, film it, and 5 seconds later it starts pouring rain. So just this close to ruining the entire day because I didn't have a written checklist of everything I needed. Now I think this is doubly important if you're going to be shooting on location and you're going to be taking gear. I mean, you're just introducing the possibility of a zillion mistakes. But even here, I've had really dumb things throughout my filming days. I have had the memory card get filled up in the middle of filming, or the battery dies in the middle of filming. Which, by the way, some of you may be tempted to, when somebody tells you, hey, buy extra batteries, you go on Amazon and you're like, oh my gosh, these knockoff Canon batteries are only $10 instead of $60. Buy the $60 batteries. Just trust me on that one. The knockoff ones, they work, but they will not tell you when they're about to die. So when you're giving your great Shakespearean line and the deliverance is like nothing you've ever done in your life, and then the camera shuts off without telling you, you're gonna know. That's why you don't skip out on the quality batteries. So that's happened to me, and then a lot of times my audio cables will accidentally have like a light cable go over them, like a power cable, and then my audio is ruined. So if you have a pre-flight checklist, something like this, that you just go through mentally every single time. Okay, do I have a fresh battery in the camera? Do I have at least, for me, 30 gigabytes of space on my memory card? Do I have all my audio set up without any power cables crossing the audio cables? And I do a test every single time I film. So I might have told you I've got the audio, the mic going into the mixer, and the mixer goes into Adobe Audition on my computer, which I'm going to show you a little bit. And what I'll do is I'll just take a 30-second test, and I'll stand there and I'll say, hey, welcome to the College of Geek Audio Testing Show, which nobody ever watches because I delete it. But it's very important. A half an hour of film that you realize this is totally ruined, not a good day. And I do things like setting up backdrop, audio cables, getting a towel because it gets very hot in my room, and I'm ready to go. So it's all about process, right? Also, it's all about batching. If you can batch similar tasks together in single days or single work sessions, you get things done a lot faster. So one thing that people who are rookies in making videos do is they think about their videos linearly. Minute 1, I'm going to be doing this. Minute 2, I'm going to be doing this. Minute 3, blah, blah, blah. So then they make their videos linearly. But if you sit down and plan, like, what are the actions I have to take to get every shot in this video completed, you can save a lot of time. For instance, you saw some whiteboard animations in my videos. A lot of my videos will have the whiteboard animation maybe at minute 1 and minute 5. It's better for me to sit down and animate all of that stuff on my overhead setup at the same time than to do it minute 1, then to go to minute 2, whatever that is, and then come back. So I do a lot of it. In After Effects, Square is graphic. So now that I've got this little set of keys, I can look over my list and be like, all right, I've got 6 pieces of footage I need to go acquire. I'm going to go do that now. And then I'm going to move over to the whiteboard animations. So again, this doesn't actually, at least in my case, cut down to the raw amount of hours I spend on videos, because many of these are things I've never done before, but a lot of them are repeated tasks, so they get done much more quickly. So with that, and I think that's probably all I want to say for filming. We're going to go into the actual editing. And we're going to start out with the audio. And I just want to show you just a bunch of little techniques you can do to start shortening the time it takes you to do stuff. So this is audio of a video I shot a while ago. And I can play it here.
10% is scheduled meetings for the most part, because as a podcaster, I'm
Sounds
often
okay.
interviewing people.
And I'm like, okay, I want it to sound a little bit better. And anybody who was here for the podcasting session right before this knows, yeah, we got to get some compression on there. We got to get some equalization on there. So the way I would used to do it, be like, all right, let's go. Let's get ourselves a graphic equalizer. That's cool. Test it out maybe. I like classic V. That's good. Cool. Blah, blah, blah. We'll amplify it up to 3 decibels. Cool. And I know I want some dynamics processing as well. I'm going to go with a softening. Awesome.
Shows, or I'll have business meetings on Skype.
It sounds different, but this takes a long time. So if you get your filming set up static and unchanging, that should mean nothing else is going to change, like your audio levels, which means you can create templates. So I've just got mic-NTG4+, which is my shotgun mic that I film with. Boop. There's all my effects.
Or in coffee shops sometimes, or people will want to just pick my
2
brain.
seconds.
And that will get...
Then I can export it. So now we'll go over to Premiere here. And I have way less space to work on this projector than on the Retina display, but we'll make it work. So what I've already done is I've already synced up my audio. This is my secondary audio right here. Where'd my thing go? So this is that track of the audio from the external microphone. This is the camera's audio. And if I unmute them both, it's going to sound weird.
Only 10% circumstance, and even cites research from a university that backs up this concept.
So this is the way that I do it. I will delete all of this, and what you can do is you can do Command L, and if you're hovered over video that's attached to audio, Command L will decouple those, and if they're not, it will couple them. So I'll get rid of that after they're synced. I'll bring my good audio up here, making sure not to change the time signature, and then I can go through and create the coupling. So now I don't have to select both of them. I can just drag one. Boom, 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 we're good. Now, this is the preliminary editing stage. This is what I like to call it. What I used to do is I would open up my little cut tool, and I'd be like, all right, there's a cut, cool. Make a cut, make a cut. All right, here's the next take, make a cut, and then press V to get back to my select tool, literally delete things, drag the good cuts together, and do that for approximately 600 hours. Or, now I've created a keyboard shortcut, and I highly recommend that you do this to create keyboard shortcuts. With Shift-C, I can make an edit. Boom. So we got a cut there. And now, I don't know if this is the right cut, but if I go to the end of my next good line, I can hit W,
and I get a ripple edit. So now I can just go through, and I edit backwards because when you're filming, you screw up takes. At least I do. Maybe you guys are virtuosos, but I'm not. I usually end up with half an hour of footage for about 5 minutes of good edited video. So it's literally 25 minutes of me just like acting like a baboon in front of the camera until I can finally get a good take. So, oh, one tip I forgot to tell you guys. For that thing, when you get a good take, clap in front of your microphone. Because what that'll create is a nice little bar on your audio waveform. And what that'll let you do is visually go, there's the good take, ripple edit, all right, and where's my next little bar? There's the other take, or the good take for the previous line, ripple edit back to that. I've gotten to the point where when I'm editing, I can actually tell the differences between these waveforms, which is something that I would never tell anybody on a date, but I can. So I don't need the claps anymore. I can just be like, that looks similar to that one. It's like a puzzle piece. Cool, I can make my ripple edits. But do the clap thing if you're not as used to it. That helps a lot as well. And now let's get into some preset stuff. So this footage, it looks okay. It looks kind of green tinted on this thing. I don't know, I'm in the Matrix or something, but over here it looks fine. But I purposely shoot on a very neutral color profile on my camera because that allows you to colorize your footage with a lot more control. So I have actually this is built in to Premiere, something called Lumetri color. And this gives you probably the most control over your color settings in Premiere at least. You could use something like Speed Grade to get more finesse, but I'm not a filmmaker, so Lumetri is fine for me. So we can go in here, we can open up our basic corrections. We can do things like our temperature. Maybe I think this is a bit cold, so I can warm it up a bit. I can do exposure. Maybe I want to just bump it just a teensy bit to get some brightness in there. I can do, I can take some blacks and I can make it a little bit more contrasty or less. One thing I like to do is add a vignette sometimes. So I'll come through and we can make our amount, I don't know, darker or lighter. I like just a little bit of darkness. But again, you can make this a preset. So once you got one you like, and again, this is the strength of keeping a very similar filming setup and lighting setup, this is key, you can go in here and you can create a preset. Now, one thing I do with my presets, and I'll show you right here, so let's delete this Lumetri profile. And I have a favorites folder here where I keep all my favorite stuff. So I've got 70D Lumetri number 8, which is the thing I typically use now. And I can actually zoom in. So you guys can see here, I have this note written. So what this tells me is I'm filming at 6500K color temperature on my camera at an aperture of 5.6, 800 ISO, 30 frames per second with 1/60 shutter speed. I've got my color preset to 1, and then I actually write some information about my environment. I've got, oh, it went away. I've got, come back, please. I've got 2 softboxes, which is my 2 main lights with 1 clamp light fill, my PC background, and I'm standing up. So this means any video I make like this color profile should work just to simply drop right in. And if we do it, that's how I want it to look. Still looks weird on this thing, but on YouTube it looks great. And it took me 2 seconds, basically no time at all. So that's something really, really useful. Now, let's talk about getting some text on the screen. So, oh yeah, go ahead.
Do you have an outside light coming in, or is that all blacked out?
I do have an outside light coming in. So my room has a very abnormally sized window. So I do have a blackout curtain over it, but there's like a 6-inch bit of space at the bottom. So I do have lighting problems. I need to order some sort of weird custom-made blackout curtain. Sometimes I take like shoebox pieces and I throw them in there. My little trick for that is if it's a cloudy day and say, this lighting and this lighting are different, what I'll do is I'll make a cut, and this is a really good trick. You can punch in a little bit like that, and then when you get your cut,
Find one that'll...
no one will be able to tell that the lighting changed. If you don't, yeah, they're gonna tell. Yeah, what's up?
While we're on a quick diversion, I'm just wondering, filming by yourself, how do you monitor just like focus and audio? I've tried to do that before, and then I end up like it's a little out of focus or...
Okay, yeah, so his question was about how do you monitor the focus. Very good question. I thought a lot about this. So, number 1, camera selection. This is the Canon 70D. It has absolutely amazing autofocus. It's just bonkers how good it is. So when I upgraded this, it was amazing. It's also got a flip out screen, so this is how I film. And actually I can turn it on. So I see myself when I'm filming, which is actually very nice. Now the only problem is this screen's very small, so minute focus is kind of hard to monitor. But like I said, with the autofocus on this thing, it's amazing. I've run into a problem recently where I moved back to filming in front of my computer setup, and as you can see, I've got some faces in the background on my posters. That screws the autofocus. So my new technique for doing that is I set to manual. I've started deliberately shooting on a higher ISO, so I get a little bit less of that bokeh in the background, but it's okay because it allows me to move around more, and it just makes for a more dynamic filming style, I think. And my strategy is I'll focus on the background, and then I'll pull the focus ring with my face very close until I just get into focus. That way I know where I was is the close end of the focal range, and I can move back a little bit without getting out of focus as well. So if you're having focus problems, experiment with a higher ISO, be willing to deal with less bokeh, and you'll probably be fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Earlier when you were talking about shooting out on scene or whatever, and you mentioned a brand name of
Oh, the DJI Osmo. So DJI are well known for making the drones. Like if you see those Phantom drones, that's DJI. But they make a camera called the Osmo. I didn't bring it with me, but it's this weird stick camera with a gimbal on top, and then you put your phone in it. And the phone becomes the screen that you actually watch what you're doing on. And even though you're doing handheld, the gimbal has like a three-way axis that compensates for all your movement. So you get what looks like drone footage, but it's actually handheld. It's amazing. It has the worst mic I have ever seen in a camera. It's horrible. So I brought it actually. I use a lav mic. And here's another little tip for you. It's not really a speed tip, but this little lav mic is $16 on Amazon. It's the Royal Voice one. And I've heard that the Royal Voice one is the best one if you're like looking for a $15 mic. I tape this under my shirt. So you can see they've got it clipped to me right now. That works for inside, but if I'm outside, the wind noise, this little thing doesn't help. But if you tape it under your shirt, there's no wind noise whatsoever. And if you go watch my summer productivity video, you can tell it's pretty decent audio actually. We did some compression and stuff, but pretty dang good.
What was the name of that one?
The Royal Voice lav mic. So, all right, so I want to get into some text animations, and we're going to get into some really heavy animations after that. But we're going to start small because I want to explain what keyframes are real quick, just in case somebody doesn't know. So let's say I said something really insightful, right? You should take notes using pencils so you can erase it. I don't know. That's super insightful, right? All right, I want to make it so insightful that there's a text there, so it's like really just hitting him in the face. So let's do a default still. Awesome. We'll say use a pencil. Cool. And now we have to type it. All right, we have to literally click and drag where we want our text to be, type it out, and there we go. Okay, now we can drag it. Perfect. Now we got to get out of this, and now we literally have to drag it in. Okay, cool. But I don't want it to just pop up on the screen. That would be really boring. So we can do some animations. And I need to get some room here to do animations. Who here doesn't know what a keyframe is? Okay, we do have some people, so I want to explain this. A keyframe is data about anything in Premiere or any other program at a certain timestamp. So right now, the position of this element, this use a pencil, you dumb text still, is 96540 with a scale of 100. But if I click this little clock icon here, click, I get this little diamond. That's a keyframe. Now if I move to a different piece of, or a different timestamp, I can change it. And you can see if I move this a little bit and zoom in, if I take this and drag it, I move it a bit. So now,
Probably interest you, and you'll
it'll
find
move.
more.
That's cool. But this is a lot of work, right? We're keyframing. I want to do some more stuff like that. It just takes forever. So if you can make one, you can reuse it. And this is why I recommend using a default program or a default template, which is what I'm going to tell you about in a bit. But I've got this little reusable segment section here. And look, I've already got.
It will transform you into an ultra-powerful work robot with superpowers of product.
It's got nice opacity. It's got like this little vignette thing on the bottom. So I can actually just copy this guy over, and with Premiere you got to make sure you don't have your main video track selected, otherwise it'll paste over that. And paste her in. So now I've got that.
Links down.
So now I can just, I've got this title section. I call it bottom fly quote. I can bring her in, put her right above, and then what you can do is you can actually copy one piece of footage and paste its attributes to another. And there you go. So now that's going to look the same, and I can come in here and I can change the text all I want. Ta-da! Much, much faster. And now you have this
additional
beautiful
resource links down the
little thing.
description.
Well, I screwed something up because the keyframes aren't working. I'm not sure why that happened, but
Below the left.
we do have the opacity settings.
Links down.
And we have our little dark bottom vignette thing that we've saved in our default project. So let's do something a little bit more advanced now. Let's say we want a crazy text thing that also has a map behind it, because why not? So let's do something like this. And we're going to zoom out because we have much less space to work with. So let's say we want something like this, where it will literally, and I need to make this a little bit less resolution, go in like that. There's a lot of stuff here. You can't see it very well, but there's like a map, like a very, very thin, very not visible map coming in here. We've got drop shadow that moves. It's really complicated, but I like to use this in multiple videos because it looks cooler than just that little text thing rolling across. So we can grab our layers, we can copy it, and if we have a different composition somewhere, like this one, where I have just me talking, we can paste them in. And then they're going to be there. And now all you have to do is change your text. Oops. This is very difficult to do on this screen. That's all you got to do. So you don't have to recreate everything from scratch every single time if you can create little templates. So I'm realizing that with this amount of workspace I have right here, I can't do some crazy things that I wanted to do, but I want to show you at least the little elements of it. So I've created this little template called Flash Complete here, and I'll show you what it does. These animations would take forever to create manually. To have like every single little letter come up like that, to have these things come in and bounce. Those used to take me forever to do. But I have two little programs that I use now. One is called JC Animation Creator, which you can get over on videohive.com. And you can literally just click a layer, click one of these, it'll ask you how many frames you want to animate with, and it puts that animation right in there. So it'll fly right in. And then I've got another one called Animation Composer, and this one's even more powerful. With this one, if you've got a layer selected, you can do all kinds of things with it. It just gives you all these little different options.
Those are plugins?
Yeah, so these are After Effects plugins. So if you guys are using Premiere and you haven't really dabbled with After Effects yet, this is how you get smooth animation stuff. I can't use Premiere for animations anymore because Premiere doesn't give you options for motion blur, and Premiere doesn't give you options for easing. You know, it just gives you like linear motion for the most part. So, you know, if you have a 5-second animation, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 position. Whereas if you have a 5-second animation in After Effects, you can have it be slow and then speed up and then slow down. You have those nice, interesting animation curves. So
most of us are wondering, where did you get your background in video, and did you teach yourself? What was your source?
yeah, so this was basically just all self-taught. And if you come up and ask me at the end, I've got a link to a big playlist of YouTube videos that I've just taught myself from. The only formal education I ever had in video was a 3-week summer job during college where they hired me to cut some footage in Final Cut, which is not Premiere, not audio, or not After Effects. So I just started doing this, and if you go back and watch my first video from 2 years ago, it's literally one cut me talking to the camera, and and then there's a thing that just pops up with no animation whatsoever. So my education was every single week, I want to make things 1% better. That's it. So how do I make this little animation thing look a little bit nicer and smoother? Google that. How do I walk with the camera following me and have it be smooth? Oh, I need an Osmo. Okay, buy that. Just get an idea and try it out and try to learn it, and then you can implement that every single week into your new stuff. So you got JC Animation Creator, you have Animation Composer if you guys have those written down. The last thing I want to do is show you default templates, and then we can move into Q&A. So this was a game changer for me. I used to open a brand new composition and a brand new project in Premiere and After Effects every time I would make something. And I'd have to drag in all my assets, and I'd have to drag in basically everything I want to use, even if I reuse it from week to week, and it took me forever. So what I have now is a CIG default folder in Finder. This is in Dropbox, so this is synced between my MacBook and my desktop, meaning I have all the assets I need to create a video on both computers. So there is a default template. I've got images that I use. I've got like backgrounds, blank backgrounds, little vignette images that I've created. All of this stuff I can keep using over and over again. I've got music that I can use, Creative Commons music, and a couple of video clips that I have some little things, little presets put onto. So over here you can see here, if I can drag it out, all this stuff is already accessible to me the moment I need to make a video. There's end card stuff. It's in there ready for it to go. There are default images. I've got my dark edges I can drag in onto a piece of video. I've got a picture of an iPhone, because I used to do a lot of iPhone footage without actually filming it now. I've got music and stuff. This helps you to start basically like an hour ahead every single week. Same thing with After Effects. I've got all the, and After Effects is bigger, I made all these animation templates. Full screen, I've got book quote, I've got bullet list. These are already complete and ready to go. The side text box is one of them. Here's this dial circle text one. Let's see if I can, I just don't have room to show you guys how they work much, but this will flip up and actually show a piece of text. Like that. That took me like 2 hours to make the first time. But now I just grab it, throw it into my new composition, change the text, and it's ready to go. And one thing I've learned is that I, as the creator, want to make new things every single time, but the viewers want to get the information and they want to be told a story. So I've just had to get away from this urge to make a brand new shape and a brand new animation template every single video and just use the same stuff with different text, because they just want the content. So yeah, that's the default template, and that's pretty much the content I have for you guys. So from here on out, we'll just do questions. I know it was pretty technical, so if there's something that just didn't make sense to you and you're confused, let me know, and we can walk through it a little bit more in detail. I know there's one question back there.
Yeah, so this template that you created with all the assets and so on,
Mm-hmm.
when you create a new project, are you saying that you copy all of that, or you open it in that Dropbox folder and add all the new footage?
So what I do is I open the default template to start, and then I save as into a new directory. So it's basically a copy of the default, and then I work from there.
But it's always going to the assets that are in the Dropbox folder?
Yep. Yeah, so the actual video footage for any individual video will be in a different folder, but it's all linked back to that Dropbox folder.
How do you arrange your video files of the new video that you're making in a new folder?
So the way I do it, and it's actually very messy within any individual folder, but I have a videos folder here, and they are numbered, which is a very smart thing to do, so I know where everything is. And this is my Dropbox, so I don't keep all my video footage in Dropbox because that would be terabytes. This video folder is for like graphical assets, like here's the image that will be on the homepage of the website, and here's what goes on Pinterest and stuff like that. But there's a copy of this exact same structure on my desktop drives where all the footage is. Yeah?
Is it just you?
Is it?
Like just you who does everything?
Oh, for making videos.
And the Pinterest and the everything else?
My business, so my girlfriend Anna does graphics for me sometimes, not for videos, just for like, mostly for our podcast actually. And then my friend Martin edits my podcast and occasionally holds the camera. But other than that, everything video related, yeah, it's just me. Yeah,
Do you go from podcast to video or vice versa?
podcast to video, blog, and then podcasts in 2013, and then videos in 2014.
What was your following like when you changed over from podcasting to video?
It was an explosion. So let's see here. Nearing the end of 2014, the site was getting maybe 1,000 to 2,000 visits a day, and now it gets 8,000 to 9,000. So video was huge because college students watch video, and high school students actually watch video more than they listen to podcasts and more than they read blogs. So yeah, there's something to be said for video. It's huge. Yeah?
When you're talking about all these different templates to use when you're editing, can you do those in iMovie?
I think so. You know, I gotta say I've never used iMovie, but any program that lets you save a project, you're probably gonna have a certain state of that project. So as long as you can create essentially a copy of that project, you're giving yourself a head start. Yeah. Yeah.
I use iMovie. You can.
Okay.
Not as
Yeah.
great as Adobe, but you can. I have like a video file. I know where my title's gonna be, my end,
Mhm.
and I just save it in the front of the title. I just call it template, and then I copy from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The source for the YouTube videos that you learn from, you said you would mention that.
Oh, yeah. So the problem is it's an unlisted playlist. So that's a good question. Let's see if I can find it for you guys. I call it making videos. Here it is. You know what? I'm just going to make it public. That's the easiest solution to this. Thomas Frank. Just put that into YouTube and you'll find it. So there, it's public. So if you go onto my playlist section of my channel, there should be a making videos playlist there from now on. And it's not chronological, it's not curriculum, it's basically just like, I needed to learn this week. So I can't guarantee that it'll solve your problem, but there's lots of cool things in there at least. Do you have any other questions? Yeah.
Do you use a teleprompter?
I don't use a teleprompter. And thank you for reminding me. I was going to say something about script types. So sometimes I will film with an entire script like this, where it's literally word for word. And sometimes I will do a bullet list, where this is not what I'm going to say word for word. It's just, I need a reminder, and then I'll just say it to the camera as it comes out. These have their strengths and weaknesses. I think if you have a really, really complicated, like scientific, technical jargon type video, a script can be really, really useful. But what I found from personal experience is that a script is much harder to deliver naturally than an outline if you don't practice it without a teleprompter. And a teleprompter is really tough to get good at and to like basically hide the fact that you're using it without a lot of practice. You gotta do some head bobs. So I don't use a teleprompter, and I would say if you don't have like incredible detail you're trying to communicate, use a bullet list. It just makes it easier. Yeah?
How do you make a living doing putting out this content?
It's a good question. I think like many people here, I do multiple income streams. So YouTube ads is part of it. I have a book on my site called 10 Steps to Earning Awesome Grades, which the combination of having that book, which I made for free, but I made it my newsletter sign up, and it's a full book, so it's like better newsletter sign up material than most sites will give you. And then the YouTube channel to promote it has built my email list up to over 100,000 people. So that's free, but then a bunch of people asked for it to be in print. So now it's on Amazon in print, and that makes a decent amount of money too. And then there's just affiliate relationships through the blog as well. And speaking.
You said 100,000 email?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not using it very well, so.
Yeah, they just gave a presentation on that.
It looks like I missed it. Uh-oh. Shucks. Yeah.
Do you do all YouTube, or are you using some Facebook video as well?
For video, all YouTube. Yeah, I still do the podcast, and I still, up until literally a week ago, wrote full-length articles for every video, and now I'm paying a freelance writer to do that for me. So I think there's a lot of value in having written audio and video content. Haven't dabbled in Facebook video simply because I guess it's a time thing. It may be worth it. I could definitely go Gary V and be like on Snapchat and video and Facebook video at the same time, 6 different cameras on me, but I like to focus. That's my thing. Any other questions? Well, if you have a question you want to ask me in private, oh, one more.
Do you do any videos that are not in your one location that you're doing?
Yeah, so the summer productivity video was all shot at like multiple locations. We went to my old college, we went to downtown Des Moines, so it's very much like a documentary style thing where I'm walking towards the camera. We wanted to go for that. But 90% of my videos are in the room. Yeah?
Where do you get your most traffic to your videos? Is it through YouTube search? Because you also embed them on your blog, don't you?
So for like 2 days in the beginning, the blog was the main source of traffic. But once YouTube's algorithm got hold of the videos, the blog traffic is like the tiniest little pizza slice you could ever imagine. It's a lot of search, but it's actually mostly suggestions. So I found that if you make really high quality stuff, YouTube features it on their homepage. They feature it as suggested videos at the end of other videos, and that's the biggest source. Yeah?
How about just titling your videos? Have you found that that's made an impact as far as what makes it more popular?
Let me show you, yeah. There's a spaced repetition video that I want to show you the notes for. It's very, 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 very important. So there's a tool called CoSchedule Headline Analyzer. I use this for like half an hour a week. So I was going to do like learn faster using spaced repetition. That was my initial title idea for that video. And that video got 187,000 views. So easily my best video in quite a while. And then I came up with some more ideas, and then I throw them into CoSchedule, and they give you a score. And this score isn't foolproof. I found that you can game it like ridiculously. If you just put like one weird trick to become baby forever, you'll get 100 score or something, and you don't want that. So use it with a grain of salt, but it does help. And I started getting better scores. So 68 for how to remember what you learned through spaced repetition. That's okay. And then I thought to myself, is anyone going to search for spaced repetition in YouTube, or are they going to search for the problem they want to solve, which is how do I remember stuff faster? So I landed on the most powerful technique for memorizing what you study. And I think what I ended up going with was the most powerful technique for remembering what you study, which I'm not sure if it's even on here, but yeah. It was really good. Really, really good that I did that. So think hard about your titles. Think even harder about your thumbnails, because that's what really gets people to click initially is the thumbnail. So I think I'm still zoomed in here. It's why I spend so much time on my thumbnails.
What do you use to create your thumbnails?
Photoshop. I didn't show you guys my Photoshop template. Let's do that. So, I don't know. Those might be proprietary, but you can definitely make them yourself. This is all just self-made stuff. So I start with a Photoshop template like this. And it's all about just making things faster. It's not like any kind of secret sauce. I need my layers pane to be visible for me. So what I've got here is just a bunch of layers that really help. I should be able to zoom out. Come on. It won't let me. But so I got text examples. And I never like reuse these, but they're just like example things. So maybe, okay, that looks pretty good. I really want to zoom out more. There we go. And I can throw a picture of me on there. All right, that looks pretty good. Maybe I want a colored background. Sweet, that's cool. And I could do a picture background. Have a map back there. Let's take the color off. Okay, do a different picture of me with a different piece of text. So this is just rapid prototyping. I never reuse these assets, but what I'll do is at the end of my filming session, I'll make a bunch of really dumb faces to the camera, cut one out, throw it in there, and then look at my text templates and be like, okay, what kind of text template will look best with this particular dumb face? I think it's this one, so I'll make something similar. And we end up with all these different kinds of thumbnails.
And I'm guessing because you're focusing college, you go with, instead of being dressed nice like this, you're in like a t-shirt and this.
Sometimes. I often dress like this in my videos too, so. Yeah, I would say I'm usually in a t-shirt, and it's less that I'm trying to appeal to fellow kids, and more just that I don't want to sweat too much in the room. So I have like 10 pounds of audio diffusion foam on the walls to make the sound better, so it gets hot in there. Yeah, this is like a bunch of hand sew.
What tools did you use to learn Photoshop?
YouTube, and then the Adobe support docs, I think.
Is that in the list that you just made public?
I don't think I ever made a list of Photoshop tutorials. So But I mean, you can do the same thing I did. Just go onto YouTube or onto Google and just be like, hey, I need to make a vignette in Photoshop. How do I do that? Or how do I cut myself out of a background that's really complicated? And you'll find something. I think you're guaranteed to find something just as good as what I found. There were some more hands. Yeah?
Do you put a transcript with your video for SEO purposes ever?
I don't do a transcript, but I do use a company called rev.com, and they make captions for $1 a minute. So every single one of my videos has closed captioning, which is, you can see the CCs, which is very, very useful for the 70% of my audience that is non-American. So they still give me flack for talking too fast, but at least they can read. I used to have transcripts, but now I just get the actual timed caption files. And then for SEO, what I do is instead of an actual transcript, I write a full article. And the reason I do that is because most videos start with, hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to talk about this, which isn't a way to start an article. An article is better with a hook and some sections.
So the article will be in your YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, I'll give you an example here. I think I have internet, because I think I tethered off my phone for this presentation. If we go to, where's the good video? The How to Remember What You Study video. This one. So we can go to this. And then in the video, actually tell people, hey, I wrote a doubly long article for this video. I cut a bunch from the script, so if you want more detail, go over here. So we can go over here, and we get the entire article whenever it loads. And it's like, I don't know, 3,000 words with lots of tables and charts and graphs and stuff. So I try to make every single video like just this awesome piece of content that has multiple ways of being consumed. Yeah, I did see your hand again, so.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you manage your time between YouTube and your blog? Because right now, that's what I'm finding. That's a lot of time editing videos and then creating these huge.
Yeah. So she'll be the first to tell you I don't manage my time well. Have a girlfriend who will yell at you. That's a really good tip. What I do is I make the video first. And even if it's a full scripted video, I don't even start on the blog post until the video is on YouTube and it's unlisted. And then I will frantically go write the blog post in a couple of hours, which when you've been steeped in the video project forever, the blog post is actually pretty easy to do. And I always kick myself because now the creativity starts coming out because my focusing brain is just dead. And I'll write really funny things in the blog post and then really wish they were in the video. But the other thing is I'll just grab, like all of these are screenshots from the video. So I'm not making graphics. I'm just, well, that's from Unsplash, but that's from the video. I just hit the export screenshot button in Premiere and I get all kinds of graphics, which people can save onto Pinterest if they want. Yeah?
So I noticed that you don't have a lapel mic on in your videos, and I saw you use a shotgun. I've been using a lapel because it's like cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep it out of the shot but yet in the right position? Can you tell me a little more about your...
Yeah, let me show you the picture. It's in the slideshow real quick. So play again. So basically, with the flip out screen, which you can't see in this picture, I can see where the mic is, and I will literally just be doing this with the boom pole and watching the screen until it's just out of frame. And I found the NTG4 is a fantastic microphone. It doesn't need to be right next to you. It just needs to be sort of close. And the low end you can get off of it is just beautiful. So I never wanted to use a lav because I never wanted people to see a lav in my videos. And that's why I actually started out with a podcasting mic on like a regular mic stand under the camera frame and then graduated to that. Yeah?
Do you have a batch process for video production?
You mean film multiple videos? Yeah. I don't. So I told you guys like at the early part of this presentation, it's a very good idea. And if you guys are like making video courses, like obviously this the biggest thing, but I just can't. I get so excited about one topic, I write the script and then I go film it. So I would like to, it's like my aspiration to do it, but it's just, it's never happened. But it would be definitely helpful. Yeah?
How often do you post a video?
Once a week is the ideal, and I usually hit it. We will see if I get a video out this week. It's filmed, it's on here, I just need to get a break to actually edit it.
So how long does it take you to edit that?
It really depends. So I purposely filmed like a philosophy video this week. This week I'm just like, hey guys, we're gonna analyze a quote from Marcus Aurelius. Here you go. So I know exactly how to make the quote animation for that. It'll probably take me 2 or 3 hours. The flashcard video I did recently took me 30 hours because I was like, I had so many ideas and I was like, I'm gonna make this the best video I've ever made. So yeah, somewhere between 3 and 30. That's a very helpful range. I make anywhere between $1 and $999,000 a year. Yeah.
You said you're getting ads from YouTube, or you're getting income that way. Is it significant, or is most of your income from other traffic?
It's significant now. This month it broke $1,500, so it's not like full-time income.
Traffic? Like for how many views?
I'm not allowed to tell you the exact numbers because it's actually against YouTube's terms of service to say like what your CPMs are. But what I can tell you is generally you'll get between $1 and $2 CPM on YouTube, which is not great, but if you're getting a decent amount, 500,000 to 2 million views a month, that can bring in a decent amount. Yeah.
Do you foresee, I know there was a recent change in YouTube policy about like if it's just the appropriateness of content and monetization.
Mm-hmm.
What do you foresee the future, the next 5 to 10 years with YouTube as far as making a living and having kind of freedom of speech and the way that it is now?
I am not the person to ask about that. So I'll be honest with you guys. I watched the Philly D video where he's going on about it. I read all the news stories, and I said to myself, that doesn't affect me because I make my videos with 6th graders in mind. Because one of my early videos, I quoted, I quoted Ernest Hemingway, and he said something along the lines of, the first draft of anything is shit. So I said that in the video. And then I got all these emails from like 6th grade math teachers or English teachers, and they were like, hey, I want to show this to my class, but you said shit. So can you not? So now when I make videos, I make it basically like, okay, if a 5-year-old watches this, there's nothing that's going to be offensive. And the worst thing I'll do is like sneak a really secret reference in there or something. Yeah.
Have you noticed over time that Google AdSense revenue has gone down at all, even though your views are going up?
It's cyclical. And I haven't been doing it for long enough to really notice a trend, because for the first year, I didn't have ads in my videos. I was in like the blogger mindset where I thought of YouTube as an outreach channel, and I wanted to remove any barriers to people signing up for my email list. So I thought at first an ad is just going to keep people from signing up because they won't make it to the end. And then I had a conversation with a friend here in San Diego actually, and he told me, people think YouTube ads come from YouTube, not you. They will not hold it against you, make money. So I put them on, and I've had them for about a year. And because it's only a year, I can basically tell you that, yeah, during the summer, a student-focused channel makes pennies, and during August, it's raining, and I don't know what to do with all these boatloads of cash.